My sister's boyfriend gave me a harmless ride home from university, but she twisted it into something ugly, accusing me of trying to steal him. When he broke up with her after she started threatening to Unalive herself, she blamed me for the entire thing. Her drama backfired in a way she never expected. My older sister is 22, and her boyfriend and I are both 19. I'll refer to my sister as Kate and her boyfriend as Adam, though these aren't their actual names. Adam and I were initially just acquaintances. We were in the same year in classes in high school and now attend the same university, studying the same subject. We were never close enough to be considered friends, but after he started dating Kate, we did become friendly, even good friends, since we share a lot of common interests. I want to make it clear that I have no romantic interest or feelings for Adam. However, when Adam and I became friends, my sister didn't like it, which is understandable. So, I kept my distance as she wished. Despite this, Adam and I still had to communicate because we share a few classes. Our conversations typically revolved around school or anything related to our coursework or Kate. One evening, after classes, Adam had been invited by Kate for dinner at our house. He offered me a ride home in his car since we were heading to the same place anyway. I didn't give it much thought and agreed. It was dark, and I was quite exhausted. I actually slept for most of the ride, so we didn't talk at all. But when we entered the house, as I was heading to my room, Kate grabbed me and pulled me back, demanding to know why Adam and I had arrived together. Adam immediately tried to explain, but she started yelling at him, telling him to stop speaking for me and to stop defending me. Her shouting brought my parents rushing to us. She then began screaming at me, accusing me of being jealous and telling me to find my own ride home. She also claimed she'd noticed everything and hated how I thought every man wanted me, calling me desperate. She was gripping my wrist tightly, her nails digging in, which hurt. So I yanked my arm away, and she shoved me. Adam tried to restrain her, but she started screaming and crying for him to stop defending me, emphasizing that he was her boyfriend, not mine. My parents tried to calm her down, but she was shaking and breathing heavily and rapidly. She was also glaring at me, and I felt, and still feel, deeply shaken by the whole scene. My mom started yelling at me to leave the room until Kate calmed down, saying my presence was triggering her more. I felt confused and accused, so I tried to explain that I had no idea what I had done wrong, but my sister started making these unsettling sounds, shaking, panting, and glaring at me, which honestly frightened me. My mom yelled at me to leave again, and I did. I heard them ask Adam to leave too, which he did, and he later texted me, asking if my sister was okay. But I honestly have been too scared to leave my room. I feel a bit scared that my sister might do something to me, and I've honestly cried. A lot. I feel a bit shaken up by seeing my sister like that. I don't know if it was a panic attack or a breakdown, but she looked more enraged than anything. I feel somewhat responsible for her reaction since she had previously told me to stay away from Adam, so I wish I had never taken the ride home with him. I don't know who to talk to about this, and I'm still in my room. I know I've said this a lot already, but I'm genuinely afraid to leave my room because of everything, and I feel like my parents both believe it's my fault for my sister acting that way. Update 1, May 5th, 2025. Apologies for the delay in posting an update. I had taken a break from my phone and social media due to harassment, which I'll mention later in this post. I'd like to thank everyone who offered advice and encouragement. I didn't really expect it, so I'm very grateful. I would first like to begin by saying that everyone was right. I should have left my house for some time after Kate had such a strong reaction towards me. So, after Kate's meltdown a week ago, Adam actually started keeping his distance from Kate and our family. I did too. I'd only leave my room to go to school or to get dinner, which I would then eat in my room. My mom also advised me to do that because she was worried about how Kate would treat me, especially since Adam wasn't talking to her much at the moment. But he would still text me occasionally if he had something to tell me about school, though he wouldn't even ask about Kate. About 3 days after that incident, I was at school and received a text from Kate. She basically told me that she hated me and that if I came home that day, she'd actually kill me. I was so confused. I didn't know what I had done since I hadn't spoken to her for some time. I forwarded the message to my parents, and I was also upset since she was threatening me out of nowhere, plus she was insulting me a lot too. Kate called me, and when I answered, she was crying and screaming at me, saying it was my fault and that I never wanted to see her happy, and I took away someone so important to her just because I don't have a man for myself. I tried to tell her first that I didn't know what happened, but she kept repeating, "Liar, it's your fault. Liar, it's your fault." Then, when I hung up and went to ask Adam about it, he told me he had ended things because Kate had started not only calling his phone a lot, but also his parents. She was also texting his friends on Instagram, asking them to talk to him so that he would speak to her again. Adam also said that she started threatening him too, but with her life, saying if he actually left her, she was going to kill herself and it would be his fault. I didn't believe him at first, actually, since I had never seen or heard my sister acting like that. So he showed me the texts as proof and told me that he couldn't handle being in such a relationship since he was now afraid of her. Then he said he was also scared of me or interacting with me just in case Kate would hurt me again for it. I called my mom and tried to explain everything to her after I was done with all my classes. And I even had Adam there to speak to them just in case she wouldn't believe me or wouldn't believe what Adam had told me. But my mom just started yelling at me. She told me that what I was doing was wrong, like communicating with someone who caused my sister so much pain and even trying to get her to speak to him. She then refused to speak to him or even hear the reason he broke up with her, because all he did was hurt Kate to her, and said that me continuing to speak to him meant I didn't care about my sister. I then told her how Kate was threatening me, and she told me that it was just out of anger and that I should stay away from Adam if I didn't want to make Kate angrier. I kept trying to get her to understand how I felt, but she kept dismissing me so much and yelling at me too that I cried and had to end the call. I stayed in school with Adam for some time, and we spoke about what I should do, mostly because I was just scared of going home and wanted to talk to someone who understood me and not to trigger Kate. Kate was spamming me with texts asking if I was with Adam and what was taking me so long to go home. She was also calling me a lot, and when I didn't answer her calls, she called me through my mom's phone, and when I answered and heard it was her, I hung up after she said she knew I was with Adam. I honestly felt so exhausted by all of this, and had to even face the fear of asking a friend who slept in the dorms if I could stay with her. I told her everything too, and we're close, so I've been here for a few days. I told my parents that I was with a friend to prep for some exams, and both of them, especially my father, insisted I go home, especially since I'm the youngest. They don't trust me to stay out of home since, first, I have nothing on me, but I'm actually just scared to go home. I don't care what my parents think. My parents think I'm overreacting about Kate's threats, and even made me speak to her on the phone, and she told me she didn't mean it, but I don't believe her. They're saying I'm trying to ruin Kate's name by involving others into family matters. Like what? I had to turn my phone off for some time because of Kate constantly calling and texting threats and insults to me, and when I tell my parents, they literally make excuses. Oh, and on Saturday, all three of them came to my school to try and find me. I was lucky not to bump into them, but Adam and one of my other friends unfortunately were spotted by Kate. But Adam didn't want to talk to them, so he avoided them and warned me about it. And my friend who did talk to them told me my sister asked her if I was staying with Adam, and my parents told her to tell me to come home and to take their calls. So yeah, I apologize if this post feels all over the place. I tried to explain everything for everyone who wanted an update. I'm still so stressed about everything, and keeping my distance isn't helping like I thought it would. I'm constantly worried that my sister or my parents will find me and that I will have to speak to them on this, which I don't want to, but I know I'll have to go home soon since my parents are insisting on it. Update 2. May 6th, 2025. I am once again overwhelmed by the support, advice, and encouragement I have received. Thank you so much. I once again took everyone's advice. The hardest part about this was having to move out of the house I grew up in. It was really hard to go back. I actually felt worried, but I decided to go back home today when both of my parents were at home, and I also went with a friend, just in case. Plus, I had time since my classes were all in the evening. My family has this obsession with maintaining a good family image, and I kind of surprised them by coming back so suddenly and with a guest. I think I first of all sat down with them, and my friend went upstairs to my room to begin the packing and obviously to give us space. My parents then started talking in hushed tones, basically telling me to stop being dramatic and stop dragging this issue out, and that it has already happened and I should just forget it and come back home. I first asked if I can stay in the campus accommodation, or the apartments close to school since I'm actually doing my final exam starting Thursday, and I wanted to stay in school where I can focus purely on academics. I thought this approach would work since my parents are pretty strict about school, but my parents refused immediately. My father said that I wasn't allowed to until I was older, and my mother said she knew it was because of Kate. I then told them I've already decided that that's what I want, and I'll do it anyway, and my father threatened to stop paying my fees. He also told me to think about what our other family members would think, and that I'd have a lot of time in our house with my sister during the summer break to make up, but I dreaded actually living so much time in the same place as Kate. Plus, I asked the school already about summer housing, and it is allowed in my school, but you have to pay a different price, which I expected my parents not to agree to pay. My friend came downstairs while we were talking and called me to the side, and then she told me that she was looking for a suitcase, and then Kate burst inside and was like lunging at her, but then stopped when she realized it wasn't me. She said she was scared and wanted to leave, and I felt scared too. I took my friend to my parents and told her to repeat what she just told me, and my mom just sighed. She told me to go if I want and see how I'll survive without them. I looked at my dad, but he didn't say anything. I asked if I was allowed to leave, and my dad said I could go, but as long as I wasn't under his protection, I shouldn't expect anything from them. My friend said to me that it was okay and she'll help me pack, so I asked my parents to tell Kate to come downstairs, and Mom said she could do whatever she wants since she lived there. So my friend and I just went upstairs, and my room was wide open, and my friend and I actually hesitated to go in, but she wasn't there. I packed most of my clothes, not everything, then we left immediately. Afterward, I decided to speak to the school with my friend more about on-campus housing and explain my entire situation, and I was actually allowed to have it if I took summer classes or if I took an internship. But since I'm a freshman, it would be harder to do an internship, so I am choosing to do summer classes. Sorry for that. I was then asked to speak to the campus safety officers concerning my sister and the threats she made against me. But I'll go with Adam tomorrow since we both have evidence, and I had a lot of work having to bring my stuff to the dorms as well as having an evening class to prepare for. I called my father afterward and told him about it, the housing and fees, and then I asked again if he was really not going to pay my fees or support my other expenses. He said that he'd pay for school fees and the housing, but I'd have to figure everything else out, like food and stuff, which I think is manageable. Now, regarding pressing charges, I don't want to risk being cut off financially by my parents since I am not ready to pay for my own fees yet. Plus, after I blocked my sister, she stopped bothering me, but after my friend told me that she lunged at her when she came back home, I'm worried she'll do that again to me, and a lot of comments in my posts have given me scenarios which made her scarier to me. But Adam wants to file a restraining order against her for some reason. He doesn't have her blocked, just muted, but he views all her texts and even forwards some to me or sends screen recordings of voice notes she sent to him. And yes, we are actively communicating because we are going through the same issue. I hope to just receive protection from Kate. Like, even if it means spending my entire summer in school, I'll do it. I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow, but even now, the school has said they're not letting people into the dorms area, so I'll be safe until then. To the people hating on me for not pressing charges earlier, I hope you understand I fully depend on my parents for everything. I was worried that if I did, I'd be cut off. But after my finals, I want to try and get a job so I can earn some money during the summer, and hopefully, I'll get used to such independence. This is my final update. Thank you for all the support. I'm okay, so is Adam, and we'll continue working on making sure we'll both be safe. Story 2: Caught Cheating. The aftermath. My best friend, Carlos, and I have been inseparable for 28 years because our mothers were close friends. We've spent almost our entire lives together, despite our stark differences. He's incredibly extroverted, makes friends instantly, and always has silly jokes ready. I, on the other hand, am more reserved, analytical, and controlling. Our mothers always said we were like night and day, yet somehow, we always got along. Carlos recently got engaged to his girlfriend, Marlene. For the past couple of months, they've been immersed in wedding planning. Despite my mild dislike for her, she has this "look at me, I'm here, everyone look at me" personality. We never truly had major disagreements. It was more of a superficial annoyance. This whole mess began 2 weeks ago while I was walking my rescued 10-year-old German Shepherd, Kimmy, named after the Formula One driver. From a distance, I spotted Marlene in a bar with another guy at a table, talking. Nothing unusual, I thought. But then, as we were at the crosswalk, waiting for the red light to change, Marlene and the guy started passionately kissing each other. I was taken aback for a few moments, but quickly pulled out my phone and took a photo and a quick video, zooming in on them. Here comes the first point. I immediately sent the photo and video to Carlos, almost certain there was some explanation. Because, come on, they were engaged and planning a wedding. Carlos saw the photo and video but didn't reply. For 2 days, there was just silence. Then, 10 days ago, at 3 a.m., he appeared at my house while I was sleeping. I saw him on the monitor, and when I approached the door, still a bit sleepy. I just saw his bags and told him that one of the guest rooms was upstairs and that I'd just refilled the fridge, then went back to sleep. But the next morning, he told me what had happened. Apparently, Marlene had been cheating on him for 9 months with this guy. When he confronted her with texts, the photo, and the video, she dropped the cheater's act, as Carlos described it. He then came straight to my house after spending hours yelling and arguing with her. I asked him what his plan was, and he told me that he didn't want to see her for any reason and needed to break off the engagement. I agreed with him and told him that he could stay as long as he wanted, but to please not tell my 7-year-old adopted daughter about this mess, because she is innocent in all of this, and drama is the last thing she needed. So, coming to the main point of this post, apparently, I became the real reason why they broke up. Since Carlos arrived at my house, it's like everyone has turned against me, with comments like, "None of this would have happened if you had your mouth shut," and similar nonsense. But every time, my response is, "Thanks for letting me know, and go to hell." I reply this to the barrage of texts, calls, and people showing up at my house. Sincerely, I don't feel very guilty, but many are, saying that I shouldn't have immediately sent him the photo and the video, and instead should have had a talk with Carlos. But since apparently right now, for many, I'm the worst and the real reason why they broke up, and only a few are saying that I did the right thing, I want to hear others' opinions. So, am I the jerk for exposing everything, or should I have done something different? Update: almost 2 weeks have passed, and unfortunately, Carlos isn't handling this whole drama well. I'm trying my best to support him and be there for him. I can guarantee that seeing your best friend crying and trying to blame himself because his ex-fiancée cheated on him isn't easy at all, and even for someone cold like me, it's heartbreaking. So I decided to do something about this, and for once, show that actions have real-life consequences. Knowing just the name and last name of the other party, I decided to ask a connection for a favor, just a simple background check on who the guy is. And 2 days ago, I did it and found out the whole picture. The guy isn't a random person, he is Marlene's boss. And according to my connection, since the affair started, Marlene, she works as a lawyer, started to be designated to big cases and to manage big clients. What a surprise. But the most interesting thing is that Marlene wasn't the first one, and her boss already did this with 2 other girls. And their law firm was just searching for any type of excuse to fire him. And a very simple plan immediately came to my mind. Why not give an extra push for this? So, through Carlos's screenshots of their chat and my photo and video, I created a very clear case of this behavior. The most surprising part, when I told Carlos about this, I was extremely clear on what would happen, the consequences of this, how he needed to think well about this before regretting it. But his reply left me surprised. "Hell yes," he said immediately. So we sent, through a temporary email, the proofs we had, and, well, yesterday, the good news showed up extremely quickly because the firm fired Marlene's boss and her too on the spot. I wasn't really expecting that she would be fired too, honestly, but apparently karma doesn't show mercy. So guess who today had a meltdown, screaming and yelling every insult you can imagine at my house? Exactly, Marlene screamed for like 2 hours that we ruined their life, that she knew we were the ones, how she will sue us for ruining her life, and all this type of stuff. But again, what I couldn't imagine is that one of my neighbors called the police on her and turned their cameras on my gate. The police officers had to physically drag her into their car and then had a talk with us, but we obviously played dumb and explained a bit of the situation. Fortunately, they understood and didn't press further on the issue. Do I feel bad about it? Do I feel guilty? Absolutely not. Actually, seeing Carlos laughing at Marlene having a mental breakdown was quite surprising and funny at the same time. He was really enjoying seeing an adult having a meltdown and screaming all types of stuff. So the situation is this, and I really hope not to update again because now the focus is just seeing my best friend smile and laugh again. He even asked me if I was sure that he could stay at my house for more time, jokingly asking me if I would make him pay rent, but I reassured him that it was fine and it wasn't a problem for me, as long as my daughter would stay out of all of this.